Good morning, everyone. We'll start today's lecture. In the last lecture, we discussed about that mesh analysis, and we solved some problems also. And after that, when we are solving one particular example, in that we are facing a limitation or problem when we are applying that mesh analysis. So in that case, how to overcome that problem? So that problem we can overcome by using the super mesh analysis. So super mesh analysis, what do you mean by that super mesh analysis? How to identify that is the problem related to super mesh analysis, and what are the steps are present in the super mesh analysis that we have completed in the last lecture. So today we will start to solve one example based on the super mesh analysis. Then we'll move ahead. So in the last lecture, I have given the one example as a homework. So I already given the hint also. So how to apply? So how many of you solved this problem? I don't know. So if anyone solved, can you tell the what is the answer that is find current in 5 ohm? Anyone? Anyone? No one. No one has solved. Okay. Uh, Now we'll continue this same problem. So if anyone solved, check the answer that current passing through 5 ohm is 4.66 ampere. 4.66 ampere. That is the answer of current passing through 5 ohm. So 5 ohm is present here. Okay. So we will solve by super mesh analysis. So forget about these two steps. I will start from this one. So super mesh analysis. Yes, 4.66. You got? Okay, very good. Yes, very correct. All values are correct. So answer is also correct. That is 4.66. Okay. Who solved this one? What? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Uh, let's other take. If I am giving some work as a homework, please try at least. Answer will be wrong, but at least trying is important. If you're not trying, then you will get difficulty to solve the problems. If you're not solving the problems, then subject looking like difficult. So solve the examples. At least you can try at your level. I am there always. Okay. So we will start to solve this problem. So first of all, first two steps I already discussed. Once again, I will discuss. So this is the question here. I1, I2, I3. I have marked here. They will not give in the question itself. You have to mark. So according to the first step, identify the number of meshes. So I identified how many are there. One, two, three. So second step will be the, or in the first step only, mark the direction of mesh current in clockwise direction. I1, I2, I3. So once you are marking, according to the direction of mesh current, mark the polarities of voltage drop across each element. So here, if you're moving from top to bottom according to this current, here plus minus, here it is plus minus. So come to the mesh 2, that is closed loop 2. According to the I2, this is plus minus. Uh, this is plus minus. I will write as it is. So this is current source. This is plus minus. So when current source you are observing, we cannot find out the voltage across this current source. So obviously, in the first step only we are identify first and second step only we can identify that this is the problem related to super mesh. We cannot solve by simple mesh analysis. We can solve such type of problem by using super mesh. So two steps over, mark here also polarity. Once two steps over, you can guess that, you can easily identify that this is a super mesh. So apply the steps of super mesh analysis. So first two steps over. So apart from the super mesh, so this is a part of super mesh. Leave this part, leave this central part, leave this branch. So apart from this one, if any loop is there, any mesh is there which is not affected by super mesh, yes, that is here, that is the first loop. So there is no difficulty to apply the KVL in the mesh one. Okay, so I will write, that is the step number 3 in the super mesh analysis. Apply KVL in mesh 1. So what are the assumptions? Because some branches are common. Which branches? 10 ohm. This is common for these two. 5 ohm is common for these two. So assumptions will be there. So what is the assumptions? So I1 is greater than I2 and I2 is greater than, sorry, I1 is greater than I3. So I1 is greater than I2, I1 is greater than I3. This is assumption. So already polarity mark. So try to write the equation using KVL. So start from this point, go in a clockwise direction and come to the same point. So minus to plus. When minus we are observing, we are writing the value plus. This is plus 50. So come to here, plus we are observing, that's why it is minus. What is the resistor value? 10. So what is the current flowing through that? I1 is flowing from top to bottom and I2 is flowing from bottom to top. So that's why I1 minus I2. Why I1 is greater? Because we assume that. Next one, come to 5. Plus is observing, that's why it is minus. 5 into I1 minus I3 is equal to 0. So rearrange the equation, minus 10 and minus 5, that is minus 15 I1 minus minus plus 10 I2, then I3 term is minus minus becomes plus 5 I3, and this plus 50 goes to the right hand side, becomes minus 50. So this will be the equation number 1. So this will be the equation number 1. Okay, now next. So next, when you are applying a KVL, now as we discussed about this network, if you are carefully observing, this is the central part. This will be the what? Super mesh. So leave that branch and apply KVL combinedly for this outer loop. Okay, outer loop साठी KVL तुम्हाला काय करायचं आहे? Combinedly apply करायचं आहे. That's why I will take the help of this diagram and I will write the equation. So please note down. Okay, now I will start to write the equation from this point. So I will applying in a clockwise direction and come to the same point. So plus you are observing. Okay. So plus means what? Minus. Minus 5 into. So what is the current flowing through 5? That is I3 minus I1. Why I3 you have to take? Because we are applying KVL in mesh 2 and mesh 3 combinedly. Okay. That's why I3 is great. I3 you have to write. Now next, go to the plus 10. Here plus is you are observing. That's why it is minus. Value of resistor is 10, but what is the current flowing through that? That will be I2 minus I1. That is I2 minus I1. Come to 2 ohm. Come to 2 ohm. So plus you are observing, that's why it is minus 2. But what is the current flowing through 2 ohm? That is only I2. So minus 2 I2. Now next, come to the 1 ohm. Come to the 1 ohm. Don't move here because we left this branch. So come to here. That is 1. That is minus 1 into I3. Only I3 is flowing through that 1 ohm. And then come to this part. Okay, we will end that equation now. E is equal to 0. So this is the way to write the or applying the KVL combinedly for the outer loop by leaving that particular super mesh part. Okay, so this is the equation. Now rearrange the equation in terms of I1, I2, I3. So minus 5 minus 5 into minus I1, that is plus 5 I1. Similarly here minus 10 and minus I1, that is total 15 I1. 15 I1. I2 term is only this much, minus 10 and minus 2, that is minus 12 I2. And I3 is minus 5 and minus 1, that is minus 6 I3. Any constant term is you are observing? No, you can take as a 0. So this will be the second equation. This will be the second equation. Now third equation. So already you applied KVL for this loop and already you applied KVL for outer loop by leaving the central part because that is a super mesh. So how to get third equation? Because how many unknowns are there? 3, I1, I2, I3, and we have only 2 equations. We cannot find out 3 unknowns using 2 equations. So to get the answer, we need at least one more equation. So that one more equation we will get from this super mesh. Okay. So I will write from super mesh. That is the step number 5 in super mesh analysis. From super mesh. So how to get third equation? Compare the direction of this current source with these two mesh currents, because this is the common part of I2 and I3. So which is the matching? Which direction is matching? This direction is matching with I3 or I2. If you are observing that this direction is matching with I2, so I2 is greater than I3 because I2 is flowing in this direction and I3 is flowing from opposite direction. So there will be the difference. So from super mesh, I will write I2 minus I3 is equal to 2 ampere, because that value is fixed. That value is nothing but 2 ampere. If there is 5 ampere, here it will be 5. Here it will be 5. Okay. Now which one is missing here? I1. So simply write 0 into I1, then plus I2, means here 1 is there, then minus 1 into I3, means 1 is there, is equal to 2. So this is your third equation. Now solve these three equations. Equation number 1 is you are looking here. Equation number 2 and equation number 3. Solve these three equations, put in a calculator all coefficients. So you'll get the answer of, so I1 is equal to, I2 is equal to, and I3 is equal to. So I1 it 19.99 actually, but 20 is equivalent. So next I2 is 17.33 ampere and I3 is 15.33 ampere. So these are the answers of mesh currents. Okay. So once you are finding the mesh current, what is the question? What is the question here? Find current passing through 5 ohm. So look at the circuit. 5 ampere is here. Sorry, 5 ohm is here, which is common for mesh 1 and mesh 3. So obviously I1 minus I3 or I3 minus I1. But which is greater? I1 is greater if you are calculating from this point. So the current passing through 5 ohm resistor is, that is I5. I will write I5 is equal to I1 minus I3. So I1 is 20, I3 is 15.33. So the answer is 4.66 or 67 ampere. Sorry, I5, current passing through 5 ohm. So I5 is equal to 4.67 ampere. So in this way you have to use the mesh analysis, super mesh analysis, solve the problem according to the steps, then you will get the answer. If steps are correct, marking is correct, voltage drop marking is correct, and you are writing the proper equations with taking the care of plus and minus, then you will get the correct answer. Okay. You will not get any wrong answer if you are solving correctly by using the proper method and proper steps. Okay. So this is now up to now. If you are observing here, so unit number 1 here, syllabus I will tell first of all. What are the syllabus here? So types of network elements, types of sources, then 4 network theorems are there: superposition theorem, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem, and maximum power transfer theorem. These 4 theorems are there, and after that we have to solve the problems based on this. So problems again classified into 2 categories. So one is DC based, and second one is the AC based. So what do you mean by DC based and AC based? If the network consisting of only DC sources, then it is classified as a DC network. If the network consisting of AC sources, so in that case we can classify it as a AC network. So based on that, we have to solve, or we have to use all the network theorems, and we have to apply the network theorems and finding out the parameters. So this will be the syllabus, and from today onwards we will start this point, all those points, and nearly it will take 10 lectures or 7, minimum 8 lectures and maximum 9 to 10 to cover all those points along with problems. So first chapter is very important, and if you are solving the problems more and more based on this unit number 1, then you will score in this subject. Are you understand? So for exam point of view, if you are referring the question paper, every time there will be the minimum 2 problems based on the theorems. So out of 4 theorems, they will ask minimum 2 theorems in based on the problems. So exam point of view also, these all theorems are important. And in the gate exam also, in the gate exam also, uh, minimum 2 and maximum 3 marks question will come on the network theorems. So look at this importance of this point. So next one, course objective and outcome. So what you are learning when you are learning this unit number 1. So what will be the outcome here? So you can easily apply the network theorems and you will get the parameters. Are you understand? So if you are when you are complete this unit number 1, or when you are observing, when you are learning this unit number 1, at that case, what do you learn from this unit? So you can apply the circuit analysis methods and network theorems, and you will get, or you will analyze the circuit parameters. So what are the parameters here? Voltage, current, power, etc. Okay. So once you know the voltage and current, you will get the power delivered by source and power absorbed by the source. Okay, that is the secondary part from which you can calculate the power as well as whatever the things. Now here, this will be the course objective here. So once again, I will write, I will dictate that course outcome. Analyze linear circuit with the use of different network theorems and analysis methods. Okay. Now, central idea of the chapter. So what you are going to learn, or what will be the central idea of the unit number 1? So if you are carefully observing the syllabus, so what you are going to learn in this unit number 1? So all the network theorems. So to solve the circuit parameters, we need some techniques. Those techniques we already learned under the circuit analysis, that is 4 methods, or KVL, KCL as well. So nodal analysis, super nodal analysis, mesh analysis, super mesh analysis. So these are all of the techniques we can say. And along with the techniques, we can use the theorems, network theorems, which are useful to get the required current voltage across any element present in the given network. So this will be the central idea. So I will summarize in a 2 sentence. To solve the circuit parameters, that is voltage and current, we need some techniques. We have to use some techniques. So those techniques are involving circuit analysis methods and some network theorems. So theorems already you know given in the syllabus. So superposition theorem, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem, and maximum power transfer theorem. So this is about the central idea. So next, what do you mean by title? So title of the subject is circuit analysis and network theorem. So circuit analysis means whatever the prerequisite we learn, that is voltage division, current division, KVL, KCL, nodal analysis, mesh analysis, that all comes under circuit analysis methods to find out the parameters, voltage and current. And network theorems. So network theorems are the only 4. Actually, there are the number of network theorems, but for Solapur University syllabus, or for your syllabus, it will be only 4. So superposition theorem, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem, and maximum power transfer theorem. So the next point will be importance of the chapter. So importance of the chapter, why this chapter is important? So if you know the theorem, if you know the circuit analysis method, so you can easily analyze the circuit parameters. Okay, so for designing particular project, suppose you need the voltage across this resistor must be this one, the current passing through particular element should be this much. So in that case, you have to analyze the circuit. So to analyze the circuit, you must know the some techniques. So those techniques are nothing but circuit analysis and network theorem. Are you understand? So by using this theorem, you can find out the parameters like voltage and current. Now next one, which book we have to refer? That recommended books. So Sudhakar Shamohan, that circuit analysis, linear circuit by Sudhakar Shamohan, Sudhakar and Shamohan S. Palli. So that book will be the good one, as well as some one book is there. I will tell that is related to the actually electrical network. So that is also one useful. So I will put the names of group names of all the books which is useful for studying the unit number 1 in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So next one, types of network elements and types of sources. This will be the first two bits present in the uh, unit number 1. So types of network elements and types of sources, out of which types of sources already we covered. Types of sources already we covered. So once again I will revise when we will complete the network elements. Okay, don't worry, I will cover that point. Now next one, we'll start now unit number 1. So types of network elements. So there are the four types of network elements. So what are the four types of network elements? So it is given here: active elements and passive elements. Second one is linear elements and non-linear elements. Third one is bilateral elements and unilateral elements. And last one, okay, that is lumped. Actually, the spelling mistake was there. That is the lumped and distributed. Okay, lumped, lumped and distributed. Okay, I will make the correction. So these are the four types: active elements and passive elements, linear elements and non-linear elements, bilateral elements and unilateral elements, and fourth one is lumped and distributed. Okay, now next point. So first we will start with the first point, first type of network elements. So active elements and passive elements. So here, active elements, what do you mean by active elements? So active elements means what? Active elements means what? Which delivers the power to other elements present in the electric circuit or present in the electric network. Active elements का काम क्या है? To deliver the power, to deliver the energy to other elements. Okay. So sometimes they may absorb the power like passive elements. It is not compulsion that they must deliver, but we can say generally active elements will deliver the power, okay, to the others which is present in the which are present in the electrical circuits. Okay, so active elements have capability of both delivering as well as absorbing the power. Now what are the examples, how to identify this is the active element and this is the passive element? So active elements examples are voltage sources, current sources, power sources, like this, which will delivers the current, which will delivers the power in the circuit. So voltage sources and current sources, these are the examples of active elements. Now next one, if you are observing here, next will be the passive element. So passive element cannot deliver the power to other elements. They always absorb the power. So what are the passive elements? Obviously resistors, inductors, capacitors. Are you understand? So these are the elements called as passive elements. They always ready to take, they always ready to absorb the energy from the circuit. Okay, they don't have its own energy. So resistors, inductors and capacitors, these are the three passive elements which will absorb the energy. It cannot deliver the energy. Are you understand? Okay, now next one. So active elements, are you understand? Active elements are sources which will deliver the power, which will deliver the energy. And passive elements are the components like resistors, inductors, capacitors, We cannot think about diodes, we cannot think about transistors. Why? Because this subject is known as linear circuits. We are doing whatever the 6 chapters are present in this total subject, that all are based on linear circuits. So linear circuit means what? That we will see in the next part. Okay. So second point, linear elements and non-linear elements. So what do you mean by linear elements? So linear elements are the elements which shows the linear relationship between voltage and current. Examples: resistors, inductors, capacitors. Okay. So why these elements are called as linear elements? Because suppose I will take the example here of resistor. I will take the resistor. Suppose this will be the resistor. That value will be the R. And if you are passing the current I through that resistor, so some voltage will drop across the resistor. So what is that voltage value? Suppose that will be the V. So what? How to write using Ohm's law? V is equal to I into R. So if I know the current, if I know the voltage, so if you are plotting that graph V versus I am increasing the voltage. So if you are plotting that graph, that will be the linear. That will be the linear, and this will be called as origin of the graph. So if you are plotting the relationship of voltage and current across that particular element, if it is linear, that is the straight line passing through origin, then that element is called as what? Linear element. Are you understand? So it is applicable for resistor, it is applicable for inductor, as well as it is applicable for capacitor. ट्रान्झिस्टरच्या बाबतीत तसं होणार नाही. What are the characteristics of transistor or simple diode? Diodeचे घ्या, voltage across diode and current passing through diode. If you are plotting that one, that will be like this. It is not linear, it is not passing through origin. Okay, it is not a straight line, even though if it is passing through origin, but it is not a straight line. Okay, so it is will be curve. So this diode we cannot say. Diode is not a linear element, it is non-linear element. I understand. So the linear elements are those which shows the linear relationship between voltage and current. And opposite, non-linear elements. So non-linear elements are those which do not show the linear relationship between voltage and current. So voltage source, current source, how it is? So current source, that is like this voltage source. Suppose this is a voltage value with respect to time. Whether it is passing through origin? No. If you are taking the diode I have given example, that is also non-linear elements. Okay, so this is the linear elements and non-linear elements. Therefore, the network which consisting of linear elements, that network is called as what? Linear network. So RLC, this is the important one. Okay. Now next point, bilateral elements and unilateral elements. So bilateral element and unilateral element. So first of all we will see bilateral elements. आता एक resistor दाखवले खाली. So resistor I have shown. Okay, here. So if you are passing the current through this resistor, voltage V will be dropped. Okay, I will be the current and voltage V. आता I चं direction दाखवलं इथं, and voltage drop according to current direction. This is plus, this is minus. Okay. Now how to write voltage will be V is equal to I into R. Now if you are reversing the current, आता current तुम्ही असं पाठवतात in this direction, and voltage will be dropped like this, plus here, minus here. So how to write V is equal to I into R again. Direction, currentचं direction change झालंय. Direction of current is here like this, and here it is opposite. Even though I have changed the direction of current, whether the value of voltage is changed? No, it will remains constant. So such type of element is called as what? Bilateral elements. So what are the bilateral elements examples? Resistors, inductors and capacitor. So what do you mean by the bilateral element that is given? Bilateral elements are those which allows the current in both direction and offer the same impedance in either direction of current flow. Impedance as well as voltage. Are you understand? So this will be the bilateral elements. मग unilateral elements म्हणजेच काय? Diodes, SCR. So suppose you are taking the diodes. Diode जर फॉरवर्ड बायस असेल तर कसा करंट फ्लो होतो. Whether current is flowing in this reverse direction? No. because diode will becomes reverse bias. So diode SCR, it is called as what? Unilateral elements. So unilateral elements are those which allows the current only in one direction. It does not allow the current to flow in both direction. I understand. Diode allows only current flow in forward bias. SCR always allows in a forward bias, whereas bilateral elements allows the current direction in both direction. Okay, so that's why RLC, these are called as bilateral elements, whereas the diode SCR like this are called as what? Unilateral elements. So last point, lumped and distributed. Lumped networks are those which are small in size. Resistor छोटा है, inductor छोटा है, capacitor छोटा है. So the network which consisting of small elements, so that network is called as lumped network. Okay, so whatever we are learning this subject, this is related to lumped network. Distributed क्या है? The distributed network is that network which consisting of big elements like transformer. आपण electricity बघतो, how electricity is generated. It is generated from the dam itself. Okay, dam पासून project कोयना dam if you are considering,